Hello everyone, I am Dr. Yukti Sharma from Department of Education, University of Delhi. In this presentation, we will discuss various models of disability. The learning outcomes for this presentation are, so in this presentation, you would be able to deliberate on the need for understanding various models of disability. You would be able to reflect on the significance of various models, medical model, social model, ICIDH model, and biopsychosocial model of disability. You would be able to critically deliberate on the limitations of each of the models. You would also be able to discuss the complementarity of various models in understanding children with impairment. That is, how each of the model contributes in its own way. As we had already discussed in the presentation on who are CWSN, that multiple terms exist for these children. And the emergence of these terms can only be understood through various models of disability that have evolved over a period of time. Hence, in present times, through these terms, we are actually witnessing the reflections of various perspectives of disability that have existed in the past. Thus, to understand the multiple ways in which we look at people or children with disability, it is important to understand these models of disability. Before going ahead, let's see how will the understanding of the models of disability help us. One, it would help us to understand, as I already said, the various ways in which society looked at the people with impairment historically. It also implies the way society treated them, or they were treated by the society and its institutions. It would also help us to understand the use of multiple terms and their hidden meaning. What stereotypes or prejudices are attached to these terms. So therefore, it would help us to critically look at the various stereotypes and prejudices that these terms may be propagating. It would also help us to decipher the language that teachers, special educators, or any other professionals are using for CWSN. So, we would begin by looking at the medical model of disability. The medical model, as the term refers to, presents the medical perspective of disability. It evolved in the modernist era when the scientific methods had started developing and they helped in understanding the physical condition of people with impairments. Because it's related to the medical perspective, it gave emphasis on the medical condition of the people with impairments. So the main idea was to diagnose the medical condition of the people with impairments and how this condition could be made better or could be treated. The medical diagnosis, of course, was based on various scientific methods, as that was the time of scientific methods, and it involved the role of various medical practitioners in this process. Now let's discuss some of the significant features of the medical model. Because it's totally based on the medical condition of people with impairment, hence it viewed disability as a pathological condition. And on the basis of the kind of pathological condition that existed in the individuals, it categorized people. And therefore, it addressed disability basically through medical practices by diagnosis of the pathological condition and giving importance to medical treatment. Therefore, it considered that people with impairment are not normal. They have to be made normal. It focused on the deficit which was present within the people with impairments, and thus it defined normal as someone who was free from any kind of deficit. And the medical treatment meant making them normal. So medical condition was seen as a deficit or a medical abnormality and not as a variation. As the medical model was based on the scientific perspective, it's important to look at it critically and see that what were the limitations of this model. Now, as this model totally focused on the physical condition of the person with disability, it led to objectification of the person with impairment, as the person was seen only as a physical object, as the person was a non-social being. And therefore, the social aspect of the person with impairment was not considered at all. Also, the responsibility of the medical condition was put totally on the individual, as if the individual was responsible for being in that medical condition. Apart from this, because the medical condition scientifically validated the medical condition of the people, they were categorized on the basis of medical condition, and which was found to be very, very authentic since it was done by scientific methods. So the categorization was authenticated by the scientific method, and all people in a particular category were treated similarly. Therefore, their uniqueness, their individual identities had almost no value. They were considered as a group that belonged to a particular category. The category itself became their identity. Also, this categorization led to stigmatization of the people with impairment. It also affected their self-confidence and self-esteem, as because of their medical condition, not much was expected of them. Also, it did not focus on their social or emotional development. The whole focus was on the medical condition, on the physical condition. Also, it did not discuss the limitations of the society in meeting their needs. The complete onus of their experience, of their struggle, was completely on them, on their medical condition. It did not focus, it did not help other people also to focus on the other abilities of people with impairments and their role in the society. Because the complete emphasis was on their physical condition, it seemed as if these people had no other abilities, and therefore, as not much was expected from them, they were not given any meaningful roles in the society. Thus, in a way, somewhere, this model led to exclusion and isolation of these people from the society. Let's now discuss the other model of disability, which is called as a socio-political model of disability. Now, as the name itself suggests, it considers disability as a socially constructed idea. Now, what does this mean, socially constructed idea? It means that the people with disability or the people with impairment are seen as the society thinks that they are. And the society was till now influenced majorly by the medical model of disability. And therefore, the society also saw their medical condition as primarily responsible for their life experiences. The society saw that the complete onus of their condition was in them. And that is why this model challenged that the way we look at people with impairment is majorly the way society thinks they are. And hence, disability as an idea is presented and created by the society. Therefore, this model believes that the disability does not exist in the individual, but it exists outside in the individual's environment. So if the environment is not conducive, if the environment is not tailor-made for the individual, is not appropriate for the individual, it leads to disability. And impairment was merely a medical condition which was present in the individual. Therefore, this model brought a breakthrough in delinking the idea of impairment from disability. Impairment was seen as a medical condition within the individual, whereas disability was seen as a subjective experience that society offers to those who have impairment. So, impairment, according to this model, may be a fact or reality, but disability was a subjective experience and would be different for different people with impairment. Let's now discuss the significant features of the socio-political model. Now, as we have already discussed, that this model believes and emphasizes on the fact that disability is created by the society. And therefore, the most important feature of this model is that disability is imposed on the people with impairment by others in the society. And therefore, it has several repercussions for the people with impairment. They get excluded or isolated from the society and its institutions and are not able to participate in the society. And therefore, this model focuses on various exclusionary and discriminatory practices that have been followed since many years in the society. And therefore, it equates disability to other such social factors that have also led to discrimination in the past, such as gender, race, caste, or class. It emphasizes on the removal of social barrier, creation of enabling environment for the people with disabilities. It argues that discrimination towards people with impairment is also political. Therefore, it asserts that equal rights should be given to all individuals irrespective of any of the differences. Although the socio-political model was a revolutionary model in itself because it brought a major paradigm shift in the way the people with impairments were looked at by the society. It shifted the onus of the condition of people with impairment from them to the society. The responsibility shifted to the society. But this model was not totally free of critique. There were certain critiques of this model also, as it was on the other extreme than the medical model. So, some of the limitations of this model are: 1. It does not acknowledge their physical condition and personal challenges due to impairment, and specifically in the case of severely impaired, such as, people who are physically challenged in a very severe way. For example, people suffering from cerebral palsy or muscular dystrophy, and they are very, very severely affected, so much so that they are bedridden. In that case, this model is not able to explain the personal agony and the personal challenges that that person and his or her family members must be going through. So this remains a limitation of the model because it is focusing too much on the social role of the society and people. Also, when it talks of barriers, those barriers are majorly related to the physically impaired or orthopedically impaired and does not refer to people with impairments who are having challenges like learning difficulties or mental health problems. And as soon as the word barrier comes to our mind, we also think of physical barriers. So too much emphasis was given on the physical barriers that existed in the society. Also, it imagines a barrier-free society. So when it addresses the needs of people with impairment, in that process, it imagines that the society could be made barrier-free. Now, this is a very idealistic thought. A society can never be completely barrier-free, but yes, we can reduce the barriers of the society to make these people functional. And therefore, this model also appears to be on the other extreme. Then, it does not give importance to the medical diagnosis and intervention. Now, this remains a fact that people with impairment have medical problems, have medical condition which needs to be diagnosed, and there has to be some intervention. But because this model emphasizes too much on the role of society, therefore somehow it neglects the medical intervention or treatment part. Also, it does not acknowledge the struggle of the individual with impairments, as we already discussed, their family members, due to the physical pain, due to the ailments that sometimes are associated with the impairment. Again, that is a fact. It is medically proven. And those personal experiences, some people with impairment may have to go, irrespective of whatever provision the society may or may not be doing. Now, in response to these two models, which were at the extreme ends, WHO in 1980s proposed an international classification of impairments, disabilities and handicaps. It called this as ICIDH. Now the distinction between disability and impairment was already there from the social model. So by introducing this classification, WHO further defined handicap also in this process. This classification focused on the effect of impairment, and that is why they defined handicap as a disadvantage that was due to impairment. So, the idea of impairment remained the same as was given by the social model. That is, it is a medical condition which is present within the individual, but handicap is the disadvantage that arises because of that impairment. And therefore, this classification emphasized on impairment or medical condition of the person. And hence, it was critiqued for neglecting the social barriers. Because it only said that handicap was a disadvantage which was created only due to the impairment. And so somewhere the social barriers and the role of social barriers got neglected. It was also critiqued, therefore, for being inclined towards the medical model and giving more emphasis to diagnosis and treatment. More importance and undue emphasis was given on the medical interventions. So, as the ICIDH model was critiqued for being inclined towards the medical model, WHO revised and renamed it as the International Classification of Functioning, Disability and Health ICF, or the Biopsychosocial Model of Disability. In this model, both the medical and the social models were given equal emphasis. It defined impairment, disability and handicap in a different way. Impairment was defined as problems in body function or structure causing significant deviation or loss, and the term disability was replaced by activity. Activity in turn was defined as the execution of a task or action by an individual. So how much and how efficiently an individual is able to do a particular task. And therefore activity was a positive term in its connotation. Handicap was replaced by participation. Participation in turn was defined as the lived experience of the people in the actual context in which they lived. Therefore, the experiences of people with impairment also got their due place. And they could be varied, they could be diverse, totally dependent on the context where they belonged. Therefore, as this model recognizes the biological, psychological and social factors interacting with each other and affecting the activity and participation of the people with impairment, hence it's rightly called as the biopsychosocial model of disability. Thus, the recent model ICF and its implication is aligned towards the ideology of inclusion and inclusive education. Because the idea here is to remove barriers to address the social factors and also to make efforts for creating assistive technologies to promote activity and participation of people with impairment. And hence, it's a more comprehensive model because it is seeking and proposing that all that which promotes the activity and participation of people with impairment should be done. Whether it's a medical intervention, whether it is removing any kind of barrier from their environment, or whether it is any kind of provisioning, that is providing some assistive technology that helps them to function better. So the idea is to increase their functionality as a whole and not to reduce them in terms of their medical condition or in terms of the environment, whether it is conducive or not. Thus, we can conclude that it is important to understand that various models have evolved in response to the previous one, but each model provides a perspective for looking at children or people with impairment, and hence every model has its own significance and has its own limitation. Secondly, to deliberate on various issues and concerns related to children with impairment, it is important to understand the various models of disability because they provide us lens to look at children with impairment, and that helps us to identify the various issues and concerns. Also, the recent models of disability see disability as a variation rather than as a deficit, and therefore it proposes to address their needs by creating appropriate resources, by increasing their functionality. And for that, whatsoever has to be done, whether it's a medical intervention or it is provisioning of any kind of resource, or whether it is making their environment conducive. So, this brings us to the end of this presentation. Hope you understood the significance, limitations of various models of disability, and you would now be able to see the various issues and concerns through these perspectives. These are a list of some readings, some advanced readings that you can use for further reference. For two of the readings, which are from NCERT, the links have also been provided. So keep reading and keep thinking. Thank you.